Hi everyone. These are the topics in our second unit syllabus. So second unit title is classes and objects and constructors and destructors. Classes and objects, constructors and destructors. So in this unit already we learned classes in C++, how to define a class, what is the general syntax of the class. Okay. Next one, declaring objects. How to define an object. How to call the member functions through the object. Next, access specifiers and their scope. Yesterday and last class, we discussed access specifiers. There are three types of access specifiers: private, public, and protected. Clear. Defining member functions. Next content is defining member functions. How many ways to define member functions? There are two ways. First one is inside the class, and the second one is outside the class. We can place the member functions in two ways. The first one is defining inside the class. Second one is defining outside the class. Clear, all of you? Then today we want to discuss overloading member functions, nested classes. Clear? Overloading member functions, nested classes. Clear, all of you? Then this is the syntax, the general syntax of the class in C++. So then here how many? This is the class. This is the body of the class. This is enclosed within curly braces. So the class ends with a semicolon. Then private, public. Then these two are the visibility modes. So once we have to define a private mode, private visibility. Once we have to define the variables and functions in private visibility, we can access inside the class only. All of you. Then the next one, once we have to define the public visibility, the variables and functions we can use inside the class and outside the class. Clear, all of you? Then the next one is, this is an example class in example. Clear. Then integer number, this is a local variable, this is the private visibility and public visibility. Void get data integer a comma float b. Then these two are the arguments of this function get data. Clear. This is the example of the class. Then how to create an object. Here simply this is an item is a class name, then item x, item a comma b comma obj. Then these are all the objects of item class. This is single object declaration. These are the multiple objects declarations. So a b obj, multiple object declarations. Item is a class name. For example, integer a comma b comma obj. Similar. Then these are all the class objects. Then item is a class name. The data type is class. Clear, all of you? Then a, b, and obj. These three are the objects of this item class. Then a occupies, b occupies, obj occupies equal length memory blocks. Clear, all of you? Then this is the general syntax of the calling member functions through object. Clear. Then the object name, operator, member name. Object name, operator, member name. Yesterday we discussed. Example, x dot show. X dot show. X dot show, where x is an object of the class. Clear. Show is a member function of the class. Clear. Then this is used in main function x dot show. So simple, it can call show function, then executes one by one statements. After execution of the show function, then the control return back. Okay. Then z to show, then whereas in pointers z arrow mark show. So in pointers we will call the member functions like this. Clear. We will call the member functions like this. So z is a pointer to class item, where z is a pointer to class item. Clear, all of you? Then the next one is access specifiers. There are three kinds of access specifiers. The first one is public, second one is private, and third one is protected. Once we have to define the variables in publicly, we can use anywhere in the program. Once we have to define privately, those variables we can use inside the class only. Then the protected variables, these protected variables, one class protected variables, those variables are acting privately in the another class. Then we will learn in fourth unit inheritance concepts. Clear? Protected variables used in inheritance concepts. Clear all of you? Then these three are the visibility modes. Visibility modes. Next one, how you can declare member functions. How we can declare member functions. Member functions are defined in two places. They are inside the class, outside the class. They are inside the class and outside the class. Clear all of you? Then the next one is inside the class and outside the class. Already I gave two example programs yesterday. I show execution also. Okay. Then the next one is inline functions. Clear all of you? Inline function. This is a small 2 marks question. Okay, small concept, very small concept. What is an inline function? Simply an inline function return type. An inline function, simply inline function mechanism is useful for small functions. All of you. So inline function mechanism is useful for small function. The inline functions are similar to macros. The inline functions are similar to macros in C language. Already we learned. Has defined PI 3.14, that is one macro. The macro value, macro definitions already discussed there. So the inline functions are similar to macros, like macros. By default, all the member functions defined inside the class are inline functions. Clear all of you? Listen carefully. By default, all the member functions defined inside the class are inline functions. Clear? All the member functions defined inside the class are inline functions. Clear? The member functions defined outside the class can be made inline by prefixing. The member functions defined outside the class can be made inline by prefixing. Inline to the function declaration. This is the general form of the general syntax of the inline function declaration. Inline, return type, class name, function name, list of arguments. Then this is the function body. Inline is a keyword, return type, class name, function name, then a list of arguments. Clear? Then this is an example for inline member function. Inline member function. Class student, private, roll number, class name, student name, where student name is a pointer variable. Your public void print, void read, integer a comma character asterisk s. This is a string variable. Number equal to a. Then strcpy student name comma yes. Close, class close. Then come here. Inline void student. Inline void student print. Inline void student print. This is an inline function. Clear? This is an inline function that is defined inside the class. Inline void student print, simply display number, okay, name, etc. The next one is clear. So simply, what is an inline function? An inline function mechanism is useful for functions. The inline functions are similar to macros. By default, all the member functions defined inside the class are inline functions. The member functions are defined outside the class can be made inline by prefixing. Clear all of you? This is the general example for inline functions. All the member functions defined inside the class are inline functions. What are the defined inside the class? Those are called inline functions. Clear all of you? Then the next one is data hiding. Small concept, 2 marks question. Write and explain data hiding. What is data hiding? Already we learned. What is data hiding? Here, data hiding is also called as data encapsulation. Data hiding is also called as data encapsulation. Clear? An encapsulated object is called as abstract data type. An encapsulated object is called as abstract data type. Data hiding is useful for protecting data. Simply, we are using data hiding to protecting data. It is achieved by making the data variables of class as private. Clear? Here simply it is achieved by making the data variables of class as private. Clear? Here private variables cannot directly accessible of class as private. Private variables cannot directly accessible to the outside of the class. Clear? So then once we have to define the variables in privately, we cannot access outside of the class. That is the meaning. Private variables cannot directly accessible to the outside of the class. Clear? The keywords private and protected are used to protect the data. The keywords private and protected are used to protect the data. That's why, whereas in the data hiding concepts, here private and protected variables are playing major roles. Clear? Here simply what is data hiding? Here data hiding is also called as data encapsulation. Data encapsulation. Clear? An encapsulated object is called as abstract data type. Abstract data type. Clear? All of you. Then in the data hiding concepts, then these are all the access specifiers. Clear? Then the members of the class. Next one, class objects. In the public mode, we can access anywhere in the program. Members of the class, is it accessible or not accessible? Yes. Then class objects also, yes. Then private access specifier. Then the member of the class is yes. Then class objects, no. Clear? So once we have to define the variables in privately, then those are all the members of the class. But outside of the class, then there is no possibility to access the private members of the class. Clear? Then protected is also same as private. So these are all the members and member functions inside the class, but not outside the class. Okay, these two are not allowed. Okay, all of you not allowed to call or to use or implement outside of the class. Clear? This is called data hiding. Once again, I repeat the definition. Here data hiding is also called as data encapsulation. An encapsulated object is called as abstract data type. Data hiding is useful for protecting data. Simply, we are using data hiding. So protecting data. Online quiz mark. We are using data hiding to protecting data. Clear, to protecting data. Clear all of you? Then this is an example program for data hiding concepts. Then private, protected and public. Then these three are the access specifiers. Your class EX. Then private, protected, public. These three are the access specifiers. Then get to pay. Okay, get pay. Then the next one, void get Q. Next one, void get R. All of you. Then here P equal to 10, where P private equal to P value 10. Void get Q. Q is equal to 10, see out protected, value equal to Q, that is 10. Void get R. R equal to 10, see out public, then R value. Then these are all the methods. How many methods here? Get P, then get Q, get R. These three are the methods, member functions of this class EX. Clear? Next one is class close. Next one is class close. Next, void main function. So EX dot E. What is EX? Anyone? What is EX? Where EX is a class name. Where EX is a class name. Where E is an object of the EX class. E is an object of the EX class. Clear? Then E dot get pay. This is get pay. P equal 10, where P private equal to pay. E dot get Q, then it can call this one display Q value. E dot get R, again it can call this one display R value. Then E dot get TR. Finally, stop the process. Clear all of you? Then this is an example program for data hiding. Example program for data hiding. Then here private P and integer Q. These are access specifiers. Clear all of you? Then overloading member functions. So this is the today's class concept. Overloading member functions. Overloading member functions. Simply, what is overloading member function? A member functions can be overloaded like any other normal functions. Overloading means one function is defined with multiple definitions with the same function name in the same scope inside the class. Then we want to define more functions with the same name, but return type and sending and receiving arguments may be changed. Clear? Overloading means one function is defined. Overloading means one function is defined with multiple definitions. With same functions name in the same sequence or same scope. In the same scope. Here overloading means one function is defined with multiple definitions with the same functions name in the same scope. Clear all of you? So overloading member functions. This is the example and general syntax of the overloading member functions. Okay. Then here simply class ABSV. Public class closed. This class is closed. Integer num of integer I double num double d. Here integer ABS number of integer I, return ABS of I. So here function overloading, here int num, double num, these two num and num, these two are the user defined function names. These two are same names. Yes, all of you. So integer num, integer num. So then these two are the member functions of this class, all of you. Then the first one num is an integer, then a double num double d. Clear? So then ABSV, this is a class name, a number integer I, return ABS of I. It can return the I value. Double ABSV, NUM double day, return FABS of day. Deactivate the object like. Void main function ABSVA is a variable name of this class ABSV. Then enter the absolute value n dot number minus 10. Then see out the absolute value of this one. Then close. All of you. Then member functions can be overloaded. Clear? Come here. So integer number I. Then double number I. Here the same function names. First statement, second statement. So number integer I, number double D. These two are the same statements. So integer ABSV, number integer I. Simply I value pass from this function to this one. Clear? So value pass to here. Then double number double D. Double number double D. Then these two member functions are same, but the return type and sending arguments are different. Remember one thing. Number, these two are the same, but the return types are different, but the arguments are different. That is the main important concept. Write and explain overloading member functions. Your member functions can be overloaded like any other normal functions. Overloading means one function is defined with multiple definitions with the same function name in the same scope. Clear all of you? Next one is, this is an example program for function of overloading. All of you. Then here NUM of integer I, NUM of double D. The function names are same, but the data types are different. So come here. This is a variable of the ABSV class. This is an object of the ABSV class. Then the absolute value of 10 is this one, n dot NUM of 10. Then the absolute value of minus 12.35 is greater than n dot number of 12.35. Clear? Here function of overloading and here function of overloading, the same function, the function names are same, but sending and receiving arguments are different. Function names are same, sending and receiving arguments are different. The data types also may be different. Here nested classes. What is nested class? What is nested class? When a class defined in another class, it is known as nesting of classes. In nested classes, the scope of inner class is restricted by outer class. So in this example, class A, class B, then class A close, class B close. Then these are the burdens. Simply here class A, then the next one is class B. So this is inside class or nested class. Simply when a class defined in another class, it is known as nesting of classes. In nested classes, the scope or inner class is restricted by outer class. The following program illustrates the nested classes. Clear? The following program illustrates the nested classes. Here simply nested classes. A class contains another class. That is called nested class concept. Clear all of you? And the next one is, constructors and destructors. All of you. This is the most important. Then guarantee question from mid-1 examinations as well as end examinations. Clear? Constructors and destructors. Simply what is a constructor and what is a destructor? Then what are the general syntaxes of constructor and destructor? Then how to define a constructor and how to destroy memory while using destructors. Clear all of you? Then constructors and destructors. Simply, what is a constructor? A constructor is a special member function used for automatic initialization of an object. A constructor is a special member function. Remembering all of you. A constructor is a special member function used for automatic initialization of an object. Automatic initialization of an object. Whenever an object is created, the constructor is called automatically. No need to call by users. Whenever an object is created, the constructor is called automatically. Clear? The constructor is called automatically. Constructors can be overloaded. Constructors can be overloaded. Clear? Next one. Destructor destroys the object. Destructor destroys the object. Simply remove an object, so the object released space it can release. Okay. Constructors and destructors having the same name as class name. Here constructors and destructors having the same name as class. But destructors is predefined by tilde operator. Destructors, the destructors is preceded by a tilde operator. Tilde operator. This is called tilde operator. All of you. So tilde operators. Next one, the destructor is automatically executed whenever the object goes out of scope. Out of scope. All of you. Then the destructor is automatically executed whenever the object goes out of scope. Clear all of you? Then simply, what is a constructor? A constructor is a special member function used for automatic initialization of an object. Clear? Most important concept is constructors and destructors. Constructors and destructors. What is a constructor? A constructor is a special member function used for automatic initialization. Clear? These are the characteristics of the constructors. These are the characteristics of constructor. What are the characteristics of constructor? Constructors have the same name as that of the class they belongs to. Constructors have the same name as that of the class they belongs to. Constructors must be declared in public section only. They automatically execute whenever an object is created. They automatically execute whenever an object is created. Constructors will not have any return type, even void. Constructors will not return any values. The main function of constructor is initialize objects and allocation of memory to the objects. The main function of constructor is to initialize objects and allocation of memory to the objects. Constructors can be called explicitly. Constructors can be called overloaded. Clear? A constructor without any arguments is called a default constructor. Default constructor. The next one is, these are the types of constructors. These are the types of constructors. What are the types of constructors? A default constructor, parameterized constructors, multiple constructors. Multiple constructors are also known as constructor overloading. Constructors with default arguments and copy constructors. Then these are the three most important concepts available. The first one is a default constructor. Second one is parameterized constructors, and the third one is copy constructors. Clear? Default constructors, parameterized constructors, and copy constructors. Here multiple constructors. Multiple constructors. Simply, what is a constructor? A constructor is a special member function. A constructor is a special member function. So which is used to initialization of an object. So here the constructor member functions no need to call through an object. It is automatically executing when the object is created. It is automatically executing when the object is created. Clear? Then there are various types of constructors. So first one default constructors, second one parameterized constructors, third one multiple constructors, fourth one constructors with default arguments and copy constructors. So then default constructor. Constructors are used to initialize member variables of a class. Constructors are used to initialize member variables of a class. Constructors allocate required memory to the objects. Constructors are called automatically whenever an object is created. Whenever an object is created. A constructor which is not having any arguments are said to be default constructor. So this is the syntax and example. Here class number integer a comma b public number a is equal to 5 b is equal to void. So then display a value, display b value, then class close. Here void main function. Here number n, then n dot show. So then this is a show function. It will display a value and b value. Clear all of you? Then this is a parameterized constructor. So tomorrow we will discuss parameterized constructors and other constructors. Clear all of you? Then constructor is a special member function which is invoked at object creation time. Okay, automatically invokes. It invokes automatically at an object creation time only. Clear all of you? Then the member functions are no need to call through main functions. Okay. Then this is the example for parameterized constructor. Tomorrow class, next class we will discuss parameterized constructors, multiple constructors or constructor overloading, then constructors with default arguments. Then this, so later we will discuss. Clear? The next class we will discuss in details. Clear all of you? Then this is the today's class. Tomorrow we will cover the remaining concepts. Destructors, various types of constructor member functions. First of all, we want to discuss. Clear all of you? Okay.